Afternoon, everyone. I have 4 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please lead us.
Colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, can we please have a roll call?
Director Pacala,
Yes.
Director McMillan,
Yes.
Director Robert is absent, Director Quady, Director Avila.
Here. Okay, next item is public comments. We have members of the public.
See? Yes, we do have a member of
Okay,
the public online. We don't have anyone in the room.
This portion of the agenda may be utilized by any member of the public to address the board of directors on any matter within the jurisdiction of the board that does not appear on the agenda and on matters that are on the agenda but are not designated as action items. Depending on the subject matter, the board of directors may be unable to respond at this time or until a specific topic is placed on the agenda at a future Calleguas board meeting. In accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act, please limit remarks to 3 minutes. Do we have
If any members of the public online would like to make public comment, please use the raise hand feature now. There are no raised hands.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to presentation, do we have our new employee?
Our intern has class until 5 o'clock, so she will be getting here as soon as she can after that. And once she's in the room and we have a good opportunity, we'll circle back to this item.
Come back to this item. Any items to be added to the agenda?
No items to be added.
Okay, item 5, the consent calendar. Right off the bat, I want to pull off 5C and move that into the action items. Any other comments from the board on the consent calendar?
Thank you.
Okay, looking for a motion to approve A and B.
A second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Director Pacala,
Yes.
Director McMillan,
Yes.
Director Robert is absent, Director Quady,
Yes.
Director Avila.
Aye. Okay, the motion carries. Okay, moving on to the action items. Would we like to start with?
Yeah, so what happens if it gets pulled from consent? It goes first on action items. So we will start with, we have the project manager, Jay Lukeski, here tonight to give a presentation on the project.
Thank you, Jay.
So these are both.
Right.
Good evening. You're all doing well tonight. My name is Jay Lukeski. I'm filling in for Fernando, who's out at another conference, and I'll be talking to you tonight about the Lindero pump station. To give you a little overview, we're going to talk about the background of the pump station, the project objectives, project description, budget, and then finally, any questions. So to give you an overview, the pump station is located in the city of Thousand Oaks. You can see here on the map, we have Bard Lake to the north, we have Highway 23 cutting north-south, and Lindero Pump Station is located right off Herbs Road near the terminus of Avenue de los Flores. If you can for a minute, just kind of keep that image in your head of just where the development is of the city in this photo. You can see here, this is an aerial image from 1970. And this is the pump station down there highlighted in yellow. And you can see there's Herbs Road is in construction. And there's some housing developments going in there on the west side there. So the pump station was constructed in 1969, roughly a year before this aerial. just to kind of give you some reference to where in time this pump station was constructed. Since then, there have been no major improvements to the pump station. It's largely all original. And just a little shout out to Calleguas maintenance guys, just to show that this pump station is still active and still alive, and they've done a great job for all those years to keep this thing going without any major improvements. Most of the components are past their useful life, and they're difficult to get replacement parts for. The guys even have gone to eBay, source used parts from other districts who have removed their systems and now have random parts laying around. So that's kind of the state of how they've been able to keep this thing moving. We also have an outdated electrical service. It's a 2400 volt. Edison doesn't offer that anymore, as if we were to try to go get our kind of grandfathered in on that. So getting replacement parts, again, just adds to difficulty because everything has to be custom. Lindero Pump Station serves the Calleguas Westlake Reservoir, as well as customers in North Ranch and Oak Park. Currently at the pump station, there's no backup generator, and there's also no provisions to connect a temporary generator as well. Here's an overview of the Calleguas facilities in this area. You can see the blue lines are the water lines. Here in that little pink dot is where the location of Lindero Pump Station is. We have another pump station, which is called, oh, I'm sorry. This is approximate service area there in red. You can see the Oak Park area on the far right, North Ranch, Westlake Reservoir, and the blue square, and then the various turnouts in the smaller yellowish squares. We've got another pump station, which is cleverly called Lindero number 2. And to avoid confusion, it's called Toad Dam or Todd. So Lindero and Todd can both pump to similar to the similar areas here, which is a nice bit of redundancy, and will also help us when we're doing this project, because Todd will be able to feed the same zone here. Like I said earlier, Lindero was constructed in 1969, whereas Todd was constructed in 1995. And I point that out because Todd was rehabilitated. We finished it last year. It's less than 30 years old. This one's pushing 55 plus. So just as a little compare right there, we have a much newer pump station that's already been rehabilitated and a much older one that has yet to be rehabilitated. So some more background. Sure you guys are all aware this is in a high fire risk area. Specifically, the pump station's location was affected by the Woolsey fire, as it burned right through this area, as well as other areas of Ventura County. It's frequently affected by public safety power shutoffs. So we lose power frequently, and since we currently don't have a generator or provisions for backup, we can't run the station. Also, as I would think you know, Southern California is in a seismically active region. It could potentially be affected by earthquakes. So in a fire or earthquake, we might not have power there. We might not be able to run the station. And its continued operability is essential to minimize loss of life, injury, damage to property, and the economy. So some project objectives. We want to improve pump station reliability, efficiency, and redundancy. Just as a reference point, we got a photo of some of the existing electrical gear on the right there. And I didn't zoom in, but it's interesting to note that the model line of this is called Value Line from 1969 or 8 or whenever they bought that. We also are trying to simplify operations and maintenance. We want to facilitate operation when the utility power is down. So I just talked about some of those other threats there. We want to be able to operate even without utility power. And then we want to improve the seismic resiliency of the building. And we also want to modernize to a standard electrical service voltage. So a little bit about the project. There's currently 6 existing horizontal split case pumps and 3 pump trains. And we're going to replace those with 3 vertical turbine pumps. Install a standard medium voltage electrical system, which is 4160 volts. Replace electrical and controls equipment. Improve the building seismic resistance, CMU block building, and a wooden roof, which when you have a heavy wall system, you tend to pull apart and you can have a partial collapse of the building. So the part of this project will be to retie all the wood framing structures to each other and also to the walls. So during a seismic event, everything stays together. And part of that is also replacing the roof. So part of that is for the seismic, and then also part of it is just because it's in a really old roof. A little bit more about the project. We plan to install a permanent diesel backup generator. We're also going to procure a load bank that will be able to help us test and maintain this generator as well as generators throughout the district. We'll be replacing interior and exterior lighting, ventilation fans, and then as well the air compressors that provide air for the surge tanks. And then site paving, as we're going to be doing a lot of earthwork to put in the new pumps. Budget. So right now the requested capital project budget is $26,400,000. And this includes the construction costs, which is based on the engineer's opinion of probable costs. We also have our consultant, Kenny Jenks, providing bidding and construction support services. We're going to have our SCADA integrator provide a control panel and the SCADA programming. Calleguas staff inspection. We have materials and specialty inspection. Calleguas project management, labor compliance, contingency. And then I did want to highlight here that we secured funding from FEMA/Cali OES at almost 1.3 million. And that's specifically for that backup generator. So that's already been secured in place. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Thank you, Jay.
Yep.
Questions from the board?
Yeah, I just had one. You said 1.2 million. I see the budget impact. I see a 920 grant funding. It's different.
I think one of the numbers is wrong. I think actually the 900 is the correct number, and I failed to, I got it right in the board packet and I failed to catch it in the presentation. So I apologize for that.
Okay. That's all I have.
Any other questions?
No questions.
Okay, my question is, are we designing this building to help with potential fires in the future? Are we taking that into consideration? Metal roof, things like that.
I don't think the roof is metal. It is more fire resistant than the roof that's on there now, and it's newer.
Okay. And you mentioned we've bought some parts off of eBay from other agencies who have replaced their stuff to keep this place going. Are we gonna do the same?
Hey, we probably should if
Other agencies, right?
if there's anybody else out there that needs it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fun fact, just because Director McMillan's familiar with Gregg Avenue Pump Station, which is part of Metropolitan System. Calleguas constructed that pump station when we built our system originally and connected to Met out that way, turned it over to Met somewhere along the way. Gregg Avenue was rehabilitated a couple years ago, and before that, it looked exactly like this pump station. It was a complete doppelganger.
Wow.
It was kind of eerie to be out there and see the same exact pump station. But yes, I think we would, or the contractor, I mean, frankly, the contractor takes on ownership of that stuff, although it's not written in the contract documents this way now. If there's things we want to keep because we think they'd be useful to us at other facilities, we usually do that in the contract documents and tell the contractor, look, it's your responsibility to haul off and dispose of everything except that we want these particular valves or these particular control panels. And usually that's something that operations and maintenance provides input on during the contract document review process.
Good.
Because we definitely have some old stuff in our system, and it's helpful to have parts around.
Yep.
I guess I want to bounce off of President Avila's question a little bit too, because, and I actually have this question for monthly status report as well, but what would it look like if these facilities were fire damaged? And what would be the recovery? What would the recovery look like? You don't have to answer that.
Yeah, we could look into that, get back to you, but,
Yeah.
The idea of thinking in that area, that's all.
No, and it's a reasonable question to ask under current circumstances.
And actually, to go along with that, we should be doing a review of all of our facilities and see what.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. That's something I'm talking with the management team about what we should be doing with respect to our facilities, in terms of really looking at everything through a potential fire lens. And I think probably the best course of action would be to prioritize Lindero Pump Station on that and make sure that there aren't any tweaks that we think we should make. Because when you go out to bid, you
Yeah.
can still change the contract documents by addendum. And potentially we might want to look at changing the roof material to increase fire protection. And then I'd like to do a more comprehensive evaluation of our system and facilities overall.
Good idea.
Especially if this one's gonna be a 50-year investment.
Yeah, I mean, what's good is this is in an open space area, although you can see a little bit in that picture, there's some buildings next door. That's our neighbors.
Yeah.
The Conejo Valley Park and Rec, they have a facility next door. We've got a pretty good buffer because we've got this concrete CMU block wall. There's no vegetation in our property at all. And there's a fairly good clear zone around it. Thousand Oaks also has a pump station immediately adjacent to our facility. It's behind the building across the wall. So I think we have a good amount of defensible space, but
No.
I absolutely think we should be looking at all of our facilities through that lens. And that it may be appropriate to make some additional modifications to the contract documents for this to enhance the fire resistance of this
Yeah,
facility.
just looking at all the fire damage recently, right? And you see these lone houses that survived the fire, they had one thing in common. Modern buildings, block walls, metal roofs.
Yeah, and usually good defensible space.
Yeah.
I will say Woolsey did burn right through here. And we did not have any damage at all, fortunately. But that doesn't mean that the next firestorm won't be worse and we should be prepared for it. So
Absolutely.
engineering staff will take a look at that. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, then we'll be looking for a motion.
So move to approve the budget allocation.
second.
Roll call, please.
Director Pacala,
Yes.
Director McMillan,
Yes.
Director Robert is absent. Director Quady,
Aye.
Director Avila.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Thank you. I just want to point out that Director Robert is on the call as a attendee,
Yes, because he's
absent.
absent. He can watch like any other member of the public.
Okay. Moving on to action items, continuation of action items, action item A, discussion regarding resolution number 2102 nominating Scott Quady to the executive committee of the Association of California Water Agencies Joint Powers Authority.
Yes, we discussed this last board meeting as part of the collateral assignments. Director Quady expressed interest in being nominated and joining the executive committee for Aqua JPIA. The way that process works is first, this board must put him in nomination, and then should that occur, we then need to obtain 3 concurring nominations from other Aqua JPI members.
Mhm.
And then all of those nominated members would be voted upon. I actually don't know how those are voted upon. Director Quady can probably enlighten us.
Yeah, it's a board of directors meeting that will occur in the May conference. Who knows who all is running? It's kind of a blind run, but because there's a lot of good people that are on the executive board.
And as this board knows, Director Quady is eminently qualified to serve in that role. His qualifications were included in the packet, but certainly if there's anything else Director Quady would like to highlight about his experience, now would be a good time.
Jeepers. Yeah, 1969 was the year I came into TO.
Same year as Lindero Pump Station.
That's why I said that.
So are we approving you for another 50
Maybe
years?
we need maybe we need an update, I don't know. But no, I have actually run for the executive board before, and I think it was a good experience. Kathy Teagues was on that list, so she's a tough one to run against, but anyway, so not knowing who all is, these are 4 seats available and I think I've spent enough time with Aqua JPIA to see if I can catch that ring, so to speak, and we'll see. But I would like to represent the Calleguas agency at the executive level for Aqua JPIA.
I want to say that, you know, having sat through a few JPIA conferences now, with you, that you are, can't imagine a better person to represent us.
Well, based on what I read so far, you're the best qualified from our board to sit on that.
Thank you.
We have a motion?
Go ahead.
Well, you said it first, so go ahead, Director Rady.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution.
And I will second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Director Pacala,
Yes.
Director McMillan,
Yes.
Director Robert is absent, Director Quady,
Aye.
Director Avila.
Aye. Okay, motion carries.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations. Okay, moving on to 7 reports. General manager's report, staff report.
Monthly status report, so usually.
Okay,
I think
let's
it's-
go
we can step
through
that.
water resource implementation strategy. If anybody has any questions going through it, just let me know.
I just want to say that.
Are we on item 6.3?
We are on item 7A, the the monthly status report.
Oh,
I just wanted to say that the front cover is excellent.
Yeah.
I wholly concur. I know the board has seen a presentation on the response to the fires. We did one for the purveyors as well. And I think my favorite feedback we got during that was that when, I don't remember if it's Daniel or Omar was presenting, said that when they asked for people to volunteer to provide mutual aid, everyone wanted to go. And one of the purveyors present told one of our staff that literally gave him chills.
Wow.
And I would agree. I think the response has been outstanding and really appreciate the hard, dark, dirty, dangerous work that was involved there. But I appreciate that our team was able to help out our fellow water agencies in their time of need.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
So on the water policy and strategy, I like the note here on the unclear whether or not this would be the end, let's see. But it'll be continuing into Camp 4. So I was wondering if citing the 822 bond letter, is there a progression that we see coming out and not a stop at this latest
So let me make sure I understand your question.
Yeah.
If I understand you correctly, you're asking for more information about the certainty that Met will continue to act and implement projects and programs that will ensure that the State Water Project dependent area within which we are located will have adequate water in future drought circumstances. Is that what?
and that the what's been achieved at this point is not seen as an endpoint, but it's a step in the progression.
That's certainly how all the State Water Project dependent area agencies feel about it, is that we're very pleased that progress has been made. It's great to see, in particular, that Sepulveda Pump Station Phase 1 proceeding.
And phase 2 has been put into the CIP. It was left out before.
oh,
Oh, it's officially in the CIP? I thought it was gonna have to go through camp.
Ooh, I'll check on it. Camp's coming up this week, next week.
3 weeks, I think.
Excellent rephrase. Thank you.
Yes, so, and I would say that Calleguas, Las Virgenes, and LADWP continue to monitor what's happening in response to the August 2022 Metropolitan Board commitment to provide equitable reliability and continue to follow up with Metropolitan staff on that. And of course, Director McMillan is actively engaged in that as a member of the Metropolitan Board.
Appreciate this, and then note at the end, and let's not forget 2017, huh?
yeah. I want to go back to item 1. Do you have a quick update on the risk and where we're at with that?
Yes, so Ian and I spent some of our holiday period, reviewing the report. We provided comments back to the consultant team in early January, and they're reviewing our comments. Where we are is that while the report isn't finished and they need to make some revisions and we'll need to review it again, the question isn't, what do we do next? Like, what are our next steps? It's more, we need to get that documentation in order. So we're pursuing implementation of some of those no regrets actions that we've talked about. I don't know, Ian, if you want to say anything additional about some of those efforts that are underway.
No, I mean, yeah, I think you covered it. Yeah, well, we're starting the roadshow.
Yes, so next Wednesday, we have a presentation to the Fox Canyon Groundwater Management Agency that provides some background as well as talks about risk. And part of that is to lay the groundwork because it's critical that we have a reliable groundwater banking framework to implement a number of those projects. That's an important first step. So in addition to the usual level of engagement that Ian's been having with the GMA, he and I are on the agenda next Wednesday to provide a presentation. And we've already had some discussions with staff, but this is to really get their board on board.
And we're gonna do a similar one in front of the board of supervisors that's scheduled. And City of Oxnard wants us to come back. So that's what I mean by roadshow. We're gonna take, as whoever, some of the partners, emerging partners from the study, try to get in front of their elected officials as well, that, as Christine said, get on their radar and get them to start thinking about
Good plan.
this.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions for those topics or not? We're moving on to external affairs partnerships.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Applications, Mr. Cohen, huh?
Yes, I don't think he had any idea that was coming. And I wasn't there unfortunately because I had to be at Metropolitan for camp, but I heard it was quite the very pleasant surprise. Which is nodding in the back.
Okay. State advocacy. Any questions on state advocacy? Okay, federal advocacy. I did see that we sent out the letters. Have we had any responses yet? Charlotte?
Yes, we have had a response from Congresswoman Brownlee's office and she has offered us a day and time to meet, which is great. So we're waiting on the other 3.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the update. Okay, presentations, items 12 through 15. Any questions? Yeah, water resources, public outreach and engagement, 16 through 19. Water use efficiency and conservation.
21. Do you want to cover that a little bit? I'd like to hear if there's an update or if Ready Pacala can a little more info on it as well.
Yeah, so maybe you can start with some brief overview of what is involved since that background was provided previously and wasn't available to Director Pacala.
Right. So working together with several Met member agencies, but without Met involvement, we have developed a program called the Turnkey Turf Transformation Program. And Inland Empire Utilities Agency is leading this effort, and they actually received a grant to administer this program. And what it's going to do is go to public agency properties and basically do a complete overhaul of their turf landscaping and make it California friendly landscaping, and it will be at no cost to the agency. Everything is paid for by the grant. And so IEUA is, again, they're the grant recipient. We are partners with them. And we've been working on getting the contractors on board. Originally, they selected a single contractor and then realized that a single contractor probably wasn't going to be able to handle all of the service areas that are participating. So they had to go back to their board and authorize a different mechanism where they have basically a task order system. So that has kind of delayed the implementation. But in the meantime, we've been working very closely with several properties within our service area who will be recipients of this program. And that includes City of Simi Valley, City of Oxnard, and City of Port Hueneme. They all are having projects done near their city halls and government centers. So hopefully we can actually break ground this spring.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Okay, moving on to upcoming events. Any questions on upcoming events? Groundwater Resources, Fox Canyon Groundwater Management Agency. I know we do have an update. We met here last Thursday and selected a new, well, Gene West is still the main selected board member, and Director Calleguas is selected as the alternate. Great conversation and lots of good questions. Any other questions on Fox Canyon?
Well, I just want to thank Dr. Avila that he was there too. And it was the first time, of course, for me to go to this particular meeting. They were all very good questions from other members. They wanted to know why anybody wants to be a member of.
Why would anyone want
Fair question.
And at the end, of course, Gene West, I believe, from Cabrosa, he really wanted to continue. And we all thought it was a good thing for him to finish the job he embarked on. So that's what happened at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
Questions on LPV Water Master Policy Advisory Committee, 25-26. Moving on to groundwater storage, item 27. Engineering, construction, item 28-29.
Transfer switch, 29. That's a big deal.
Yeah, so a transfer switch is what basically takes the power from utility power to backup power. I don't know. We have Jay here. He's the project manager. If you want to know more specific about the transfer switch issue.
It sounds like it's unusual. That's all.
Yeah, so the transfer switch, the manufacturer came out to do the startup and testing. They found some internal issues with it. So they actually are sending it back to their factory, gonna recheck it out, make any repairs or necessary changes, and then they're gonna resend it to us. But unforeseen to us and our contractor, so we just have to wait till they get that resolved.
But in the meantime, we're able to connect Lake Sherwood to portable backup power if it's necessary to do so.
Yeah.
That's what's most important.
Thank you very much.
Design, item 30-33. Okay. Moving on to.
Design goes for a couple pages.
Oh,
Design goes
design,
through
sorry,
47.
30 through 47.
Busy.
Studies and planning, 48-50. Grants and funding opportunities, 51-53. As always, good job on those grants.
No, training got moved. It's under the wrong heading. Sorry. Training actually goes under miscellaneous engineering activities. Something got.
Any questions on training? Operations and maintenance? Systems operations? Miscellaneous operations, maintenance activities? Human resources, 66-69. And risk
68.
Yeah, question on 68.
Congratulations on the beginning of.
It's a fantastic program. I know the board has heard me say that before, and we're especially lucky this year that Aqua JPA added a whole second Southern California cohort. So we actually have 3 staff members who are engaged in the program this year. Trisha, our manager of human resources and risk management, Charlotte Holofield, our manager of external affairs, and Jennifer Lancaster, our manager of water resources.
Going back to 66, for Director Buckle, is it Papua? Kala?
Kala.
Kala, thank you. And did they take you out to the field yet and do that part of the tour? Let you see the system? Because I know that Director T-Bolt and I had that opportunity.
No, I have not been.
Okay, do request it. It's very informative, but they actually drive you over the infrastructure, even though you're underground, you at least get a sense of where it is geographically. And it helps you with future presentations as they come forward. So just make sure that gets agendized for you.
Sounds good.
It's a very good tour.
Yeah, I also need to get a tour of the treatment plant. Last time we didn't have enough time.
Yeah, we ran out of time after that orientation, but yeah, we can certainly schedule those. Lot to bring Director Bacala up to speed on.
Yeah, it's good. I'm still trying to figure out how the board is functioning. We said numbers. I'm trying to, which numbers are we talking about?
Are you in the monthly status?
No,
report?
no,
You got it?
no, I'm-
You're actually, do you have anything you want to go back on that you?
That's fine,
questions?
that's fine. Next time I'll be ready.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to risk management, 70 through 73.
Number 70 was the one that I was looking at for the, what does a post-recovery look like? That's just a note.
Yeah, I think that's a fair questions. I mean, thankfully, we did not have any damage. So this is more about supporting other agencies and learning from their experiences so that we can make decisions that better position us all for future similar events because we know they're going to happen.
Questions on finance, 74 through 80.
Bab's affair is over. Thank you.
Yeah. Good work. IT, 81 through 83. Cybersecurity, hardware, software, 84, 88. Okay, that covers the monthly status report. Okay, item 2, December 2024 financial report. Yeah.
Right. Good evening, directors. Today we have the financial statements for December 2024. Just kind of walking through some of the basic information. So in December, we sold 42,600 acre feet of water. We did beat our budget, which was a good thing. We're continuing to be on pace for over what we had budgeted. Looking at the water revenues, we're at about 22 million and we had budgeted 21.6 through this time period for the first 6 months. So again, we are ahead because we are selling a little bit more water than we had anticipated. First year in 3 years, so it's kind of exciting. Going through the admin expenses, this is where we're saving some money because we haven't spent it all yet. We had budgeted to be through about $14.5 million and we've spent 11.9 through the first 6 months. And with the taxes and interest, we are coming in ahead of schedule. We have 10.5 million received in both taxes and interest. A lot of excess is coming on the interest side. We are continuing to earn more than we had budgeted. So that's helping us out. Overall, the operating income, we are ahead of schedule by about $3 million due to the not spending of all of our administrative expenses at this point. And the principal and interest is a little bit less than we spending because of the variable rate bond has come in less. So it's kind of a good thing. For the month of December, overall, we didn't bring in as much as we had anticipated. A lot of that has to do with the tax revenue that we came in, although we are ahead of schedule on most of it. There was one category, the supplemental taxes, that we didn't get our allotment yet. That's not going to come in probably till January. And that's about $800,000. So we should see that made up next month, putting us over for the month of January. As far as the cash and investments go, we continue to increase our cash and investments through the month of December, which is amazing considering we did pay off $1.7 million of the bonds in the month of December. That cash went out prior to the end of the month, so that is gone, and we're still able to do additional cash. And that is also because we received our property tax allotment in that month, which is about $5.5 million. So that did help us out, cover some of that. And that's all I have for now, unless there's, let's do that. Got our ratios. We're going to find out that the ratios are going to look a little bit different this month. For one main reason is that we are looking at that prepaid. So that prepaid water that we did is creating a big liability on our books for the next 2 months. So our liabilities went up. And so that's causing these ratios, the current ratio dropped from 8.38 to the 6.67. That will fix itself when February comes around and the liability decreases. The cash will come down too, but it'll still level it out a little bit. The quick ratio is the same thing. That liability is causing it to be skewed at this point. The debt ratio, that one's just the wrong number. It should be 27.7. And again, because the total liabilities increased, don't mind that. The total liabilities increased again. It's all skewing some of these numbers for the next 2 months. The good thing is this is actually the real number. So our debt service coverage did increase to 2.92. That has a lot to do with the fact that we received that $5.5 million in property tax revenues, which makes our revenues jump up really high in the month of December, and it'll happen again in the month of April, which suddenly boosts our debt service coverage and the times interest earns. Both of them a little bit of a bump in this month. They'll slowly come back down. We did budget 1.75 at this point for our debt service coverage, although we should get higher than that, especially since we refinanced those bonds. That was not anticipated in the budget. So that will automatically boost it because our interest has gone down on those bonds. And that should be all I have for the financial statements.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Any other questions for Dan?
He answered it. He answered it.
Oh, good.
That's what he's here for.
Item 3, water supply update.
Okay. Jennifer Lancaster is going to handle that item for us.
Okay. We go. Good evening, directors. Now that we're a few months into the water year, I wanted to provide a water supply update. I went back this morning and updated all these slides, so it's as current as it can possibly be. Because some of you may have seen some of this that I presented a few weeks ago. I'm going to start by showing the current U.S. drought monitor for the state of California. And we've been seeing kind of this drought shading, trending further and further up the state each time they release it. We kind of just look at the drought monitor in terms of predicting the demand trends. It doesn't necessarily reflect supply because it doesn't tell us anything about what we have in storage. But you can see that now more than half the state is in some kind of drought, whether it's abnormally dry all the way up to extreme drought in the southern portion of the state. So the most current data we have for precipitation is as of a couple of days ago. So we expect hopefully these numbers will keep going up as we experience these storms this week. But if you look statewide, we're not doing too bad. We're at 93% of average as far as precipitation. But as you can see from the graph or the map on the right, it has been very unevenly distributed from the north to the south. So we've had a very dry water year so far. And again, water year starts October 1st. it's been very dry in the southern portion of the state, but it's been pretty good in the northernmost regions of the state. So that northernmost area is what's drawing the statewide average up. So if we look at our reservoir levels, right now, our major reservoirs are sitting at 118% of average for this time, which is excellent because that, of course, is our storage for these dry periods. Looking at the statewide snowpack chart, the average is shown in the shaded area. So we are below average for our snowpack, and you can see how the line kind of leveled out in January. We got a few good storms in December that helped build up that snowpack early on, and then it was very dry through January. But now with the storms that we just had over the last weekend and continuing through this week, we're seeing another uptick in the snowpack, so that's encouraging. This is the Northern Sierra 8-station index. So this is kind of taking our perspective from the full state and zooming in on an area of Northern California that's essentially the watershed for the State Water Project. And this is precipitation measured across 8 stations in that general area. And it gives you an idea of the water and the snow accumulation for that particular watershed. So there's a bunch of lines on here. We've got water years that were some of our wettest, which are the ones toward the top. We've got some of our driest years on record, which are toward the bottom. And then we've got a few years that have been our most recent years. And the shaded area, again, is the average. So if you look at the 8-station index, this is where we're sitting at currently. So you can see we are above average, and you can also see that uptick as we start to accumulate more snow with the current storms coming through. And that amounts to about 130% of average for the 8-station index. So this is snow water equivalence, and this just kind of goes back to the point that we have so much good precipitation and snowpack in the Northern Sierra, but as you go south, it gets lower and lower to, by the time you get into the Southern Sierra, that area is only at 48% of average right now. So that is a pretty large discrepancy across the state. So coming back to talk about what we do have in storage in the reservoirs, this is the major supply reservoirs in the state. And for each one, the yellow bar is the total capacity of the reservoir. The blue bar is where it is sitting right now. And then the green line is the historical average for this date. So as you can see, we are doing really well statewide with our reservoir storage. All of our reservoirs are either near or above average. And again, that's good news because we did start out pretty dry this water year. And so that is just better insurance to keep us going. And I will make a note, Metropolitan is at record storage right now. So even if we didn't get any more storms this year, we would still be able to get our full demand from Metropolitan. So that's probably not going to be the case that we don't get any more storms. This is the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook for the period of February 11 through 15, so next week. And as you can see, the entire state, in fact, most of the continental US is predicted to be above average to varying degrees coming up. So we do have some good precipitation coming up, hopefully. And then taking that out a little bit further, this is as of January 16. So this is the most current we have for these precipitation predictions. But on the left, this is the precipitation outlook for the month of February. It's pretty much equal chances of being above or below average for the whole state. And if you project that out to the seasonal, which is February through April, same sort of thing. Most of the states kind of a coin toss in terms of what we're looking at getting for the rest of the year. So the key takeaways so far for this water year is that Northern California is above average for this time with precipitation. Southern California remains well below average, although this is helping a little bit. The 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook indicates that we have chances for above normal precipitation throughout the state. Our statewide reservoir storage is above average. And for example, Oroville, which is the largest reservoir on the State Water Project, is currently at 82% capacity, which is about 135% of where it normally is at this time. So given all of this, the State Water Project Table A allocation increased to 20% on January 28th. That was up from 15% on December 23rd. And then we had started with an initial allocation of 5%. So it is likely that we will continue to see increases in that State Water Project allocation as we continue through the next several months. They usually finalize it by May or June, but we typically get a pretty good idea of what it's gonna land on by about April. So we're hoping that continues to go up, but in the meantime, we have very good storage and we are preparing for future dry years that we know will come. So with that, I can take any questions.
Okay, we have some good news there, but do we have questions from the board?
I guess I can ask one question and it actually was triggered when I went to the purveyors managers meeting. I was just wondering how FIRO is playing these days.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The,
Forecast informed reservoir operations.
Oh, I cannot answer that, but I can get back to you on that.
yeah, that's okay.
Anyone else?
No, we're in good shape for this year.
Yeah. Okay, that we go back to item 3, introduction of new water resource external affairs student intern, Cassie Macias.
See, currently I live right down the road.
Can you come up a little closer? There's no mics back there in the back of the room.
Never hear me.
It's right here.
Hi everyone, I'm Cassie Macias. I'm a senior at Calleguas right down the road. I am majoring in environmental science and chemistry. And I've been here like 2 weeks. And so I'm really excited to get to know everyone and be working on the water conservation projects.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
With the team.
Welcome aboard.
And we're very happy to have Cassie on board, and she did hit the ground running. She staffed a booth at the Oxnard Native Plant Fest, her very first week here. And she's going to be working with Charlotte's team in external affairs, as well as our team and resources to do a variety of different things, conservation related, legislative affairs. And I did want to note that Cassie's the first intern in this position. It's a 6-month-long opportunity to introduce college students to the various aspects of water management as they prepare for their careers. The internship program is part of the district's growing workforce development initiatives, which are a critical element of our strategic priorities to pursue workforce excellence and prepare the workforce of the future. So we are very pleased to have Cassie on board and look forward to working with her more.
Thank you.
Great.
Welcome to the team. Yeah, moving on to general counsel report. Do we have a report from council?
Yeah, just a brief update. Seems I've been working a lot lately with the manager of engineering and the manager of human resources and risk management. Working with the manager of engineering on various construction claims and responding to a Public Records Act request for certain construction documents. And working with the manager of human resources and risk management on some various agreements, including a generator maintenance agreement, an insurance services agreement, and implementing the changes to the admin code that the board recently approved. And then finally, I think a lot of you may know I do some work for JPIA. I do litigation defense for agencies other than Calleguas. If you're really bored and you really need to sleep, I was on the JPIA 5 podcast. They asked me to come on and talk about insurance, indemnity, and risk transfer.
Stole my thunder.
I stole your.
I was gonna bring that up.
Oh, okay, good. I brought it up in advance.
So proud.
Yeah, and I made sure, because I mean it when you listen to it, to sing the praises of staff and the board members that I work with. That was one of the things they asked me, what do you like best about working for water districts or public agencies? And I said, basically, my answer was, it's the caliber of the staff and the board members I work with. And it's never boring. It's constantly changing. Just wait around. Everything will be different in a week. So.
You have that theme at Metropolitan too.
So you're saying Aqua JPA has its own podcast?
JPIA available on most podcast platforms.
Right.
5 questions. 5 questions. And it's the January 30 podcast that was posted on that date.
Yes.
Now I'm in trouble. Now they're gonna go,
Oh, yeah.
hey, listen.
Interviewed by Nydia Watkins.
And what I'm doing on the way home.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to, we haven't had any board of directors reports. We haven't had any committees.
We have not, but we will be getting a housing one scheduled as soon as we can.
Good. Look forward to it. And also to go along with that, it might be a good time to have a refresher on our committees, especially with the new board member.
Refresher in what sense of what the
No.
the ground rules are, or
No.
who's on what?
Bring the committees around that Director Pacala's on so they can give them an update on what's going on, just to bring them up to speed.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll work on that.
Okay, moving on to board member reports on ancillary duties. Report of Aqua Region 8 Director.
The only thing, upcoming meeting, I haven't got confirmed whether or not the meeting's on the 14th or the 21st. So I got a little confused, but anyway, that's an upcoming meeting.
Okay, JPI.
I was going to talk about the JPIA 5 podcast. Guiding your agency, update and follow through. That's it.
Report of Association of Water Agencies in Ventura County Representative. We haven't had a meeting yet, and we have an executive committee meeting coming up. I believe it's tomorrow. I need to look at my calendar, but anyway, that would be my last one. TiVo's taken over.
Yeah, it is tomorrow.
And thank you, Director McMillan. Report of Fox Canyon Groundwater Management Agency representative.
Well, I'll be attending this month's Fox Canyon GMA board meeting as an alternate.
Thank you. Report of Metropolitan Water District Director.
Yes, on January 23rd, I attended a special board meeting with the executive committee at the MWD's headquarters regarding the GM's employment. And then on January 28th to 29th, we have special board meeting and subcommittee on long-term regional planning and business model. And then on February 3rd, we had an ad hoc committee on Bay Delta via Zoom. And we talked mostly about the change in direction that the Trump administration is going, how they're rolling back a lot of the, I guess, requirements and regulations and how that affects Bay Delta. We still don't have a full handle on it because we're still trying to get our arms around it, but it was interesting dialogue. But everyone's very much paying attention to it because it does change some things.
Thank you, Director. LAFCO, no report since the last one. The meeting for February has been canceled. Report of Ventura County Regional Energy Alliance.
Yes, I'll be attending February 20th meeting. My question to you, Dr. Query, would you be attending that too? How does it work? If the primary goes, board member goes, the alternate does not go?
I won't attend unless you want me to, but basically you can attend. I'd like you let me know if you can't attend. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm able to go. I want to go to this meeting on February 20th.
It'll be good to get some fresh eyes on it. I like
Thank you.
feedback after the meeting.
Report of Inter-County Special Districts Association representative.
I got a text report from Director Robert that I can
All right, let's hear it.
contribute here. So the meeting was last night. There was extensive discussion about the future of the chapter, including potential restructuring and a transition to the way forward, including considerations about how often to have meetings, who's going to host, as well as the due structure. They're going to consider some bylaw changes to change the meeting frequency and times. They did choose new officers for president and treasurer, but they are still in search of a vice chair and very much want that to be someone who is not affiliated with Park District, because both the president and the treasurer represent Park Districts. So they'd like that to come from water, ports, or other districts, including any of you. They presented awards for the board member of the year, which went to Elaine Magner from Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District. They presented the general manager of the year to the Oxnard Harbor District's general manager, Kristen Decas. I'm not sure I'm saying her last name correctly. They provided an update on the financial report. They also talked a little bit about Prop 4 and how that money has passed and it will be expedited, and indicated that districts should apply ASAP because the money will dry up quickly. And then California Special District Association is looking for nominations for various awards, including various staff of the year. Is there anything, Charlotte, I know you were there, anything, you think that's comprehensive?
I think that's quite comprehensive.
Excellent.
Thank you.
It's from Director Rowley.
Any questions for Christine?
I was there too, so I could potentially know. I didn't know I was gonna be doing the report, so I didn't take notes.
Just adding a little bit of humor.
Should we nominate Director Robert?
In absentia.
Is that a motion? Should we have a second? You second?
Hey, the good,
We have a first.
I don't think it has to be done by roll call vote. I think it can be done by consensus.
Again?
Text. Hold on.
He was approached last night and did not accept then, but he might feel differently if his fellow board members nominate him.
It sounds like we have a majority.
All right, I am I am literally getting a text message from Director Robert. It is an angry face. It also says, no. So I think he does not accept.
Okay. It's too bad he's not here to fight it. Okay. All right, moving on to other meetings attended by the board. Go around the board and Director McMillan.
January 2nd, I attended the West Ventura County Business Alliance. I wrote the acronym wrong there. I apologize. It was their annual meeting at the Courtyard Marriott Oxnard. Charlotte was in attendance too. And we saw Andy, who had gone on our Colorado River trip, and he is now the new executive director there, which was a pleasant surprise. January 31st, CSDA's Legislative Committee, and February the 4th, which was last night, the annual meeting for Ventura County Special Districts Association, and tonight's board meeting.
Thank you, Director McMillan. Director Brady.
Well, it looks to me like since the last board meeting, on January 23rd, I attended the State of the Chamber, Valley Chamber of Commerce, and then that same day, the Purveyor meeting. And that's all I have. So I guess it's tonight's board meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Director Brady. Director Pacala.
Yes, on January 22nd, I attended the last board meeting, or Calleguas board meeting. January 23rd, Calleguas Purveyors meeting. Director Avila, Director Quady were also there.
But none of them talked because it was a quorum.
Nobody talked. I even didn't sit next to them. I was far away from them.
The Brown Act monitor to your left appreciates that.
On January 24th, myself and our Legislative Affairs Manager, Charlotte, we went to Southern California Water Association 2025 political outlook. And I think our manager has included in her report under item 7A. On February 5th, today, I'm attending this meeting. And I also attended on January 30th, election to the GMA board. So those meetings I attend this month.
Thank you, Director Pacala. And for myself, since the last board meeting on the 23rd, I attended the Purveyor meeting. On the 24th, I attended the Simi Valley Chamber Board meeting where we discussed the outlook for the year and the priorities, including legislative priorities as a legislative chair. On the 30th, I attended the Fox County GMA election. And tonight's board meeting. All right. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to discussion regarding upcoming meetings to be attended by board members.
One meeting, kind of late notice, but the similar number of a community coffee at the Oxnard Library this Saturday, so I'll be there in attendance.
Tricia, our manager of human resources and risk management, asked if she could use this opportunity to talk about some training that the board needs to complete. Yeah, everyone's.
I have inherited the responsibility of keeping the directors in compliance with some assembly bills, and I don't get in the habit of memorizing assembly bills, but when I do, it's going to be AB 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow.
Last year, you guys did sexual harassment training, and this year we're due for the ethics training. So we're going to assign that to you via the same platform, the Target Solutions platform. So you'll get an email probably tonight for that. And we'd like to have it completed by March 1st. It's 2 hours. So no matter how fast you get through it, it is timed and you are required to do 2 hours. So take your time.
Use that format, or can we go up with CSDA?
If you would like to go with CSDA, that would be fine with me. It's something that we can't sign you up
Right.
for ourselves. So if you want to do that, that's great. Just shoot over your certificate when you're done so we can.
For me to follow. They really do a good job.
Okay, so that is an option if you guys want to log into CSDA, sign yourself up. Just make sure we get that certificate by March 1st. So, but the easy way, a simple way is just to click the link in the Target Solutions and that'll take you through 2 hours. That meets that compliance. So if you have any questions, forget your username or password, just shoot me an email and we'll get you set up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else for that top item? Okay, moving on to requests for future agenda items. I did receive one request by a board member for a future agenda item.
Me?
Yeah, to discuss.
Oh, yes,
the,
thank you.
the-
I'd like to discuss Christine's employment contract. She was hired in January. I believe there's an July or
August.
It was really odd. So it's time for her annual review. And we just missed it by a month anyway, so I wanted us to schedule that and also look at amending her contract, so future board members won't be confused about that,
Okay.
6-month disjuncture.
So topic to update the general manager's contract to better reflect the
Yeah,
better review
and do
date.
my annual review,
And-
which might be in the next board meeting, might be one of the ones in March, just depending on how heavy agendas are.
Okay, sounds good.
Also introduce a nomination for Melody McDonald, JPIA. Also, so that would be a nomination approval for next time.
Yeah, so this would be a concurring nomination, similar to what we're going to ask several agencies to do for Director Quady. So as I believe I saw in the files, we've previously concurred for her nomination in the past. So we will we will be able to agendize for the 19th, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to information items. Does anyone have any question about the 3 letters that are on the board packet? Would you like to go over them? Or-
I don't know. We need to go over them in detail. Apparently, I just had a very busy letter writing couple of weeks on various topics, including the treater water cost recovery alternative, which was really just kind of recentering everyone to where this came from. I sent a letter to the Las Posas Basin Water Map, West, on the basin optimization plan. And then another one on Met related to specifically to comments. They gave us an opportunity to review the regional conveyance study. And so Calleguas, LV, and LADWP all provided comments that had some overlap. They weren't all the same. We're going to schedule a meeting to discuss in the coming weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Well, all 3 letters were written very well.
No, thank you.
And assuming that both GMA and Metropolitan are going to accept our comments, it's going to help us a great deal with our planning, emergency water supply. I thought it was very interesting for me. This first time I have seen that our staff was able to collaborate with other sub-agencies and metropolitan and trying to make some changes. So that's going to be helpful for all the sub-agencies. And I thought I should read this. I was really impressed in the sense what Metropolitan is doing. Metropolitan is first time in the Metropolitan's history that conservation requirements were not equally shared among the 26 member agencies. A disparity that was unacceptable to Metropolitan and also member agencies when they're accepting that responsibility. Now, as part of our comments, our general manager clearly telling them that they should include water supply as one of the components in the overall planning. I think that will help us a great deal. I just wanted to thank our staff's number of hours they have been going to LA and meeting other people. We are making progress, which will eventually help our ratepayers, our purveyors, all customers within Ventura or Calleguas service area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. I appreciate
Thank
that.
Christine?
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a closed session?
No.
A closed session. All right, and with that, I think it's a